G'day Internet, Max right here, and welcome to part 7 of everything you need to know about Bitcoin for newbies. Once again, it's a great idea to watch a free video series like this. When you click all over the internet looking for information, you're going to have so much repetition. But with a planned, organized video series like this, in the space of about 90 minutes, you can just become an absolute Bitcoin guru. So let's get to it. If that kind of sounds fun, by the way, go ahead. The first link in the description of this video is going to be the entire playlist. So go ahead and watch that. And if that sounds fun, smash that like button, hit that subscribe button. Lots of cool crypto content on this channel right here. So in this particular section, part 7, we're going to be looking forward over the horizon about what's happening in the Bitcoin cryptocurrency world. Because Bitcoin at its core is a very, very simple layer 1 solution, we call it. The analogy would be the internet, just the TCP IP protocol, the one that sends packets back and forth. It's very simple. It says you can send packets of information back and forth between computers. That very, very simple protocol allows everything else, email, social media, video streaming. It's all built on the back of a very, very simple protocol. Then people come along and build layer 2 solutions, which is YouTube, which is Netflix, which is Gmail, which is Google, etc. So we're going to have a look at some of the layer 2 solutions for here in the world of cryptocurrency. And I'm going to focus specifically on DeFi. Now, there's literally a million different applications you can do with cryptocurrency. It's entirely possible it just takes over almost every single industry. But I think the most interesting part, and for me, the one that creates the most social change, the one that lifts way more people out of poverty and does the most exciting things, is what we call DeFi. And DeFi stands for decentralized finance. So, so what this means is basically taking over everything that banks do, hedge funds do, insurance companies, you name it. Just the more and more in the entire Wall Street, all the financial services. We've got Bitcoin doing a store of value. We've got it doing payment rails. That would be Master Visa card. Now, what does it allow everything else? And we're going to get to that right now. So I do want to define a few things here. So decentralized finance as opposed to centralized finance. So centralized finance is what you're familiar with, banks and other things, third-party organizations that have CEOs and whatever else. But the same way, how Bitcoin is decentralized, it's code. And you can look at it if you understand code, or there's millions of people who've looked at it. You can trust that it does what it says it does. And it eliminates an enormous amount of problems and creates there's a lot of robustness that comes to the network. It's decentralized. We talked about that in other sections. You can't shut it down. You can't stop it. It's out there. It works 24/7, no matter what. There are no outages. There's no potential. When you use a third party like a bank, there's potential that things can get stolen. There's potential that there's incompetence by the management team and they run the business into the ground, and there'll eventually be bail-ins, or like in the Bear Stearns, companies can Enron, all these kind of things. Like companies can collapse. That can't happen in the world of DeFi. So it's about bringing swallowing up a whole industry and bringing forth the same level of safety and trust and security that we have with Bitcoin at layer 1. Well, now the entire financial services industry, right? Just trillions upon trillions of dollars locked up in all these different financial services. We're talking about taking that out of the hands of a let's call it suspect. Let's call it riddled with potential fraud, corruption, theft, all those things. It all evaporates, and we've got true and honest money. With Bitcoin, we can now have true and honest financial services. So that's what layer 2 is sort of promises us. That's what DeFi promises us, and it's here. We're here. So we've got Bitcoin being used as money. We've got Bitcoin being used to send money around. So now we've got payment rails. And so now one of the next things that one would want to do is there's many, many, many people who have hundreds of millions of Bitcoin, tens of millions of Bitcoin, millions of Bitcoin. Bitcoin's just making a lot of people very, very rich. They have all this money. Now, we can sell it and then go and buy your new car and your new house and go on vacation. But why in the world would you want to do that? It's the best performing asset ever, and it's about to go through its massive inflection point and absolutely take off like a rocket. So why would you want to sell your Bitcoin? But you still want, hey, you're a multi-millionaire, maybe even a billionaire. You want to enjoy the fruits of your wise investment decisions over the last few years and enjoy it. How do you access that capital? The answer is you use it as collateral and borrow against it. Now, this is something that's the normal world, the existing world, the legacy world of financial services. They've been doing this for everything. For example, if Bill Gates wants to buy a house, he doesn't go and sell his shares in Microsoft to go and do that. He borrows against his shares because he believes those shares are going to go up really, really fast. So it's here, take these shares as collateral and you lend me dollars and I'll go and buy my house, my Ferrari, whatever it is Bill Gates wants to buy. Well, as of about 2 years ago, Bitcoin, the cryptocurrency world, you've been able to do that in a very easy way in a centralized version, meaning there's an actual company somewhere, there's several of them, they've got CEOs, they've got employees, you lend them your Bitcoin, you give them your Bitcoin, they pay you interest. They go out into the marketplace and lend your Bitcoin on your behalf, and they find someone paying them more interest, and they make the arbitrage in the middle. So who is borrowing Bitcoin? In case you're curious, it's the biggest companies in the world. It is Fidelity, it's the banking companies, and everyone's trying to figure out how to do this well, but they need capital. If they want to open up an exchange, if they want to open up all different kinds of funds, there's just so many different applications for these companies. They go into the world and they borrow Bitcoin. Why they don't buy it? Personally, I think it's silly, but I'm not going to tell Fidelity how to manage their risk management scenario. Obviously, they have the best in the world doing that. So there's these, but big companies, they choose to borrow Bitcoin instead of buying it on some occasions, and there's a huge marketplace for it. And that's just the way it is. It surprises me, but there is a lot of people wanting to borrow Bitcoin, and they pay interest for it, right? So they need to pay people like us interest. So we have Bitcoin. We can now go and use that as collateral, and that gets lent to people. So there's that side of it. Also, we can go and use the Bitcoin, and we can borrow money against it. So it's a two-sided street. You can give your Bitcoin, and they can lend it out. You can earn interest, just like a savings account at the bank. Or you can go and put your Bitcoin in there, and someone will pay you interest. So either way, it goes either way. They'll borrow your Bitcoin, give you interest. Okay. So the two main things that we do, right, in financial services. Well, guess what? For the last 2 years, 3 years maybe, this has worked in a centralized version. However, as of kind of this year, there's several projects, several companies coming up doing this in a decentralized way. And so the market cap of all of cryptocurrency is in the order of about 2 trillion as I record this, right? I think it's going to set to hit over 10 trillion very, very soon. So there are trillions of dollars out there, and all of a sudden, you can, in just a completely anonymous way, all the benefits of cryptocurrency I shouldn't say anonymous, in a pseudo-anonymous way, in a private way, in a trustless way. You don't have to, there's no fear of let's say the IRS decide they hate you, or your government wants to label you something and say, we're coming to confiscate all your stuff. If your money's in a bank, if your money's in a centralized institution, then that centralized institution is going to hand over your money to the government. It's done. Right? But with these decentralized solutions, you have protection. No one can confiscate your stuff. It's a much more robust system. And so with that, we've got these DeFi projects coming out, and they're at various levels of engagement and various levels of adoption and various levels of trustability. So right now, Bitcoin's been around for, we're talking 12 years. It's extremely trusted. However, when Bitcoin was 2 years old, did we trust the protocol? Are we sure it does exactly what it does? I know there's been thousands of pairs of eyes look at it, but maybe a hacker can find a vulnerability. Well, now, 11, 12 years later, we know that's not going to happen. But for these new projects that are young, that's a risk. See, so you lose a lot of different risks. Corruption risk, fraud risk, incompetence risk, government risk, geopolitical risk. You lose all of those risks. You gain one risk in the world of DeFi and decentralized currency, all of it. One risk. Code risk. Is there a vulnerability that a hacker can steal the money, right? And over time and over millions of pairs of eyes looking at it, eventually it becomes extremely trustworthy. But that process takes time. Bitcoin's been through that. These new DeFi projects are not there. But this is the exciting things that we have to look forward to. So, and this kind of plays into the investment thesis as well. At the same time, we're going to go through, we've been through the adoption curve. You understand the billions of people coming into Bitcoin. Just recap, by 2023, 24, we're expecting 1 billion users. We're currently at 200 million. By 2028, there's going to be about 3 billion users for crypto. So there's all these people coming in. At the same time, there are people who no longer need to sell their Bitcoin in order to get the houses and the Ferraris and the lifestyle tokens, we call them. In order to get the value of them being stupid rich, they don't need to sell their Bitcoin. They can borrow against it and just go and buy those things and hoard the Bitcoin, which is what the vast majority of us are planning to do. So these billions of people are going to come in and they're going to buy the Bitcoin, except no one's selling. I shouldn't say no one. Fewer people are selling because there are now new options to access your wealth without selling. A really, really important concept. Okay, let's go another step further. The concept of smart contracts. Okay, smart contracts are contracts that operate, again, they're decentralized, they're run by code, and they're not run by people. So everything becomes extremely trustworthy again in this world. And a smart contract is literally everything. So we've got digital money now. That means we can have programmable money. For example, we could have a wager, we could have a bet. Who wins the next football game? Team A, the money we both put the money into a separate wallet, and if Team A wins, the money goes to you. If Team B wins, the money goes to me. And I don't have to trust that you're going to pay me. So we can do a peer-to-peer wager. I've never met you. You're on the other side of the planet. I don't know you. I don't trust you. I don't need to, because there is a code. There is a code being the arbiter of this bet, right? Smart contracts can be anything. Hey, I'm going to pay you for your widgets from your factory that you're sending from China. When FedEx says they've delivered it, release the money. I pay up front. You have no fear that I'm not going to pay you. Once FedEx says it's delivered, the money goes to you. If that FedEx doesn't say it's delivered, it comes to me. Smart contracts. There's just millions upon millions upon millions of applications of smart contracts. And now here's where the world kind of divides in the cryptocurrency world. Bitcoin has got a very, very simple, elementary layer one solution. Bitcoin is the money, it does nothing else, right? And there's some advantages and disadvantages to that. A lot of the other altcoins, and we'll get into this in later sections, Ethereum and a lot of the others, they've chosen a different approach. They thought, okay, well, we've seen this Bitcoin, it's got some really cool features and applications, but it's pretty hard to do stuff with it. Maybe we can add code into layer one so that you can do stuff with it. You can build smart contracts right into layer one, right there. Now, there are pros and cons to both of those approaches. The more things that the code does, the greater likelihood that there's going to be a vulnerability, that there's going to be some way people can get hacked, lose their money, but bad things can go wrong. The good side is you get a lot of features right there on layer one. The bad side of that is you might get a layer one chain that is too bloated. There are other solutions for that. So this is an interesting world happening inside the cryptocurrency world. Bitcoin has chosen to go a very, very simple layer one. It's like the internet, TCP/IP. We're going to send packets of information back and forth. That's all I do. You guys go and build your solutions on layer two. And these layer two solutions in DeFi, they're coming through very quickly, but they're even more advanced in the other chains where DeFi is built in right into the base layer. Okay, there are pros and negatives of that, right? Pros and cons of that, but it's good to understand that going into this world. Okay, so the summary of this section is what it is doing. It is this in the world of DeFi is decentralizing the next layer of FinTech, and in the next very, very short amount of time, you're just going to see banks, insurance companies, funds, just gobble. The cryptocurrency will just gobble up whole other institutions that are just going. Western Union, forget about it, right? It's just not needed. MasterCard, Visa, it's not needed. The whole world is going to change. The entire FinTech world is going to change and become obsolete largely as cryptocurrency completely takes over. And so, it's so hard to imagine. That's the things that we can imagine. It's like when TCP/IP came out, it's like 1997 and we've got the internet and hey, we can send an email if you're really good at typing out code and instructions, right? I don't know, could we have imagined social networks? I think we probably could have imagined email, we probably could have imagined web browsing, we probably could have imagined streaming video, maybe one day, once we're well past dial-up and we'll be able to send the packets of information fast enough that we can stream video. I could see that we would have anticipated that. Would we have anticipated the phenomenon of social media? I don't think so. Like I said, maybe some geniuses would have, but the vast majority I don't think would have. So this is just the thing that we're in, where it's right here now. Like they have it. It's just kind of working out the kinks of DeFi. In the next couple of years, this is just going to be exploded. What's going to happen 5 years after having programmable money? Who knows? Who knows what can be achieved? What about, we've got driverless cars coming. So we've now got this, you can have money that just kind of streams, you pay per mile, and just through the Lightning Network, it just pays, $1 per mile, and you pay for what you use. There's just, it goes on forever and ever. All your services, all the different ways this can go is absolutely mind-blowing, and you just can't keep up. Every day I read an article about some new way to use cryptocurrency that the world has never thought of before. But someone who had expertise in farming came up with a way to integrate it in their world, and now it makes their world better. And they're probably 5 years away from actually building the applications and making it work, but that's what entrepreneurs are doing right now as we speak. All right, guys, let me know in the comments below, what is it that has you most excited about this new world? Programmable money, decentralized money, a safer form of money, decentralized finance. What has it got you excited? What can you see are the coolest applications of this? Go ahead, leave that in leave those comments in the description. I'd love to hear it. So does everybody else. Don't forget, tomorrow at 10 a.m. we will have the next version, the next video in this video series. It'll be live. I'll be there to chat to you. If you're watching this after that date, please go ahead, click the first link in the description of this video, and you'll watch the entire video series. You can sit it in one sitting. So you will be a Bitcoin guru by the end of it. If that sounds awesome, go ahead, smash that like button, smash that subscribe button, hit the bell for all, and I will see you guys soon. Take care.